Well, good morning. Welcome to Still Up with 6 on this Thursday morning. We're almost to the weekend, guys. Just one more day for everyone who's still working. Either you're working from home or you're an essential worker. We want to thank you guys for all that you're doing. And of course, we want to tune in and check in with Chris Rogers, whose hair is growing so long. He just seems to have this strand that keeps falling. What's going on, Chris?
Yeah, Heidi, you know that I'm following these shelter-in-place orders, so no trips to my hairdresser for me. I will try to fix that. I know that's really seeming to bother you today, so I'll fix that and make sure we get right down to it. Of course, we're here to answer your questions at home. Anything that you have that's coronavirus-related, we want to answer the things that you are wondering about, whether it be Verify-related, numbers-related, or just general questions about finance. We're here for you. So let's start things off like we always do, Heidi, as you give us a rundown of the numbers.
Yeah, so since we last checked in with everyone here on Still Up with 6, here is a breakdown of the cases here in Central Texas. Coryell County has 13 cases. Brazos County has 108 cases, 1 new death, 8 new total. In Bell County, 74 cases, 3 new cases since we last checked in. And good news for Waco-McLennan County, there have been 0 new cases in the past 24 hours. We do know that Bell County will give an update at 1 p.m. today for the very latest on what's happening in Bell County and how they're trying to tackle COVID-19. But we also want to note that everyone living in Coryell County is now under a stay-at-home order. They want to stop the spread. There's also a ban for people who don't live in the county coming in unless they're essential workers. So they are taking drastic measures to make sure they stop the spread of COVID-19.
Yeah, Heidi, and another big headline this morning is we really might start to see these stimulus checks dropping in over the next couple of days, certainly over the next week or so. So that's going to be a welcome relief for so many millions of Americans who are waiting for some kind of financial bailout here. As to specific times, we don't know. We know that the USA, which is a media partner of ours, reported that potentially some Americans could be getting their checks as early as today. So we'll have to wait and see if that is the case. But remember that these checks will be coming in waves. So if you don't get yours right away or along with your family or neighbors, just be patient. You will get it.
It's important that you noted that, actually, because I do think in the coming days, people will start asking why they haven't received their check, but their friend have or their family members have. So, yeah, just remember it is going to come in waves. You might not get it at the same time as other people that you know. So keep that in mind as these checks start rolling in.
Yeah, and certainly for those of you who filed your taxes through the mail, the old-fashioned way and not online, you will get yours significantly later on down the road than those of you who filed online, because your direct deposit information is online, and the IRS and the government has direct access to that, so that's how you'll receive your check. If you're waiting for a mailed check, it will take significantly longer. We do want to continue to remind you of that every single day, because I know that there are going to be concerns, and we understand that so many of you right now are hurting financially, and you need a little bit of relief, and that stimulus check is going to provide that. We do urge you to be patient, certainly, if you filed your taxes through the mail.
Yeah, that is a good point to remember there. Thank you, Chris. Sam saying good morning, beautiful people. Good morning to you, Sam. And Matt saying y'all are a reason to smile. Thank you for reporting the news. Temple strong. Matt, thank you so much for your kind words and for tuning in to Still Up with 6. Of course, we want to make sure we're getting the correct and right information. We want the facts, not fear, here on Still Up, as we do on all our shows in mornings and evenings. So, Chris, can you tell us about the facts when it comes to Verify today? What did you verify?
Yeah, Heidi, every single day I get some interesting questions sent my way, and today was no different. I had one of our own employees, our photojournalist Ryan Fite, reach out to me saying that he was seeing posts on his Facebook feed that people were advising that you should microwave your personal protection masks in order to sanitize them. And I did some digging and actually found some articles from some not so legitimate outlets that were also claiming that this is the right thing to do, that this is the safest way that you can sanitize your masks. And I do want to say right off the bat, in case you didn't already know, this is not the right thing to do at all. In fact, it's very dangerous and could be putting you and your family at risk. We know that so many of those masks have parts are metal in them. Certainly some parts are plastic. and they're not microwavable at all. If you do want to sanitize your masks, the best thing I can tell you to do is to use some antibacterial soap, some warm water, the old-fashioned way, and then let it dry out that way, if that's the way that you're looking to sanitize your personal protection mask if you don't have access to alternatives.
So there you go. That's today's Verify. I want to get to Sam's question saying, I have no other choice but to go to get groceries and essentials today. Put it off and can't any longer. I have an elderly mother to shop for also. What's the best precautions to take so I don't bring anything back to my mother? Sam, that is a great question. Number one, we know that if you're in Bell County, which I think you are, you are required and recommended to cover up your face with some sort of mask. If you don't have a mask, we recommend you make your own. There's plenty of tutorials online to help you do so, or just put a cloth or something to cover your nose and your mouth. Also, another thing is to sanitize your hands. I know a lot of stores are giving out hand sanitizer at the door. Be sure to sanitize before you come back home as well. And be sure to sanitize when you get home and get to your mom's house or drop off your mom's delivery to her. Make sure you're sanitizing and don't get too close to her, of course. Still practice social distancing, even if it is a family member.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what? There are no precautions too extreme to take. If you feel like you need to sanitize the grocery items as well, you know, if you're doing that in a safe manner, the outside, the bag, some of the surfaces that you might have come in contact with, that's the right thing to do. As little contact as possible, person-to-person contact, of course, we would recommend. We know that so many of you right now want to reach out, hug your loved ones that live separately. We can't do that right now just to keep them safe. Certainly if you have an elderly family member, that is not recommended. But I would say this, there are no precautions too extreme to take right now, as long as you can keep you, your family, and the people in our community safe.
That is a good point. And then Red weighing in says, I guess when husband and wife file together, they'll direct deposit at $2,400. Well, it just depends on the salaries that you guys make. I know there are certain caps that decrease the amount of money you will get from the stimulus check. But if you make under $75,000 each, under $150K, together you will get $2,400. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. And we got a question coming in about the stay-at-home order in Coryell County. Right now it says, well, here's the question, is will there be checkpoints? No, absolutely, there will not be checkpoints. We haven't gotten to that point yet for people going in and out of the county. It's a good question, Jack. We have some checkpoints at major points of entry in places like the Louisiana-Texas border, but as for specific counties, I think that so many of our counties just don't have the resources right now to put those kind of methods in place. It's kind of we need to trust people to do the right thing and not travel if they can, and if they're not an essential worker.
Let's see. Any other questions? I know, Chris, this might be something that you have verified, asking about people on SSI. When will they get theirs? So, of course, we've talked about this plenty of times. Chris, you verified this when it comes to the stimulus check. What can you say about that?
Shannon, here's what I can tell you. As for the latest information that I have, if you're on SSI, it's a little bit of a different situation. So you are going to have to, if you haven't already, file a simple tax return. It's pretty much your basic information. So if you haven't done that, I would encourage you to do that. You still will get your stimulus check, but if you haven't done so and you're on SSI, I would encourage you to file a simple tax return. That is being advised for people who are on SSI only.
Let's see, some more questions coming in. Running out of sanitizer. Yeah, Thomas, good point. There is a lot of stores that are facing shortages when it comes to sanitizers. So I haven't seen any, honestly, personally, myself in weeks. So I can see why you also haven't as well.
Yeah, this one coming in from, what about the elderly Social Security checks or retirement checks? Good question to you, Michelle. I know there's a lot of unsure people out there about who will not get it. I can tell you, if you're on Social Security, if you're on retirement, you will get these checks in due time, depending on how they have your information. It could be through the mail or it could be direct deposit. That remains to be seen, but I can tell you that people on Social Security and people on retirement will get this.
And then a comment coming in from Terry saying HEB delivers groceries. Now, Terry, that is a good point, right? For people who commented saying they have to go to the store, it's inevitable. They've tried so hard to put it off. I do want to note one thing about this, and I've even had people personally come at me for this and for being mad that I went to the store. HEB has a wait list in terms of delivering groceries or even doing curbside. There is a long wait list. It's about 2 weeks out if you want to get your groceries delivered or even do curbside. So that is something else to note. It is important to stay home, yes, but if you need to go to the store, I don't think people should be feeling bad if they don't want to be on a wait list for 2 weeks to get the essentials that they need.
Okay, so I do want to give a little update for you because a valid point from Carol, who points out that there has been a recent change. So a few weeks ago, I did tell you that the government was requiring people on SSI to file a simple tax return. I am seeing now on the IRS website that information has changed. They've been kind of going back and forth on this a number of different times, but in order for ease of accessibility, they have decided now to go back and say that you don't have to file a simple tax return, so you will be getting it from your 1099 information. Thank you, Angela, or thank you, Carol, for pointing that out for us. And I say that's a very important update there.
Brenda saying, what about people on SSDI? When will they get theirs? That's a good question as well, Chris.
Well, according to the IRS, Social Security disability insurance, which is, I'm sure, what you're referring to here, I can tell you this. Recipients don't need to do anything. They don't need to take initial action. Your check is going to be direct deposited, or you'll get a paper check just as normally as you'd get your benefits. So whoever you get your benefits right now, that's how you'll get this stimulus check, and you don't need to do anything. So they have your information, and however you typically get your checks, whether that be through the mail, whether that's directly deposited into your account, that's the way that you'll receive it.
And Tim says, is Bell County, Colleen going to have all businesses closed? I work at a supermarket and our customers are still coming in with families and not following the 6-foot space rule. At this time, we haven't gotten any word that those stores will close. Of course, supermarkets are deemed essential, especially during this time. And even if there's a stay-at-home order in place, they are still essential. But I do agree with you, Tim. People are not following that 6-foot space rule. And I've personally seen families of 4 or 5 people coming into stores, and I just think it's ridiculous because we need to protect ourselves and protect everyone around us. So if you can, stay at home. Just send one family member to the store. It does not have to be a family outing.
Here we go. Here's another question. Are they starting today to send stimulus checks? Sorry, I just tuned in. The latest information says you could start receiving them as early as today, possibly into next week. That's kind of up in the air right now, but they will start coming in the very near future.
Let's see. Kara's saying, do you think that they should shut down for a complete 2 weeks so we can finally get back to some type of normal? Kara, that's a good question. I think that's something that I think the national leaders are discussing, thinking about. But of course, logistically, it's really hard to pull off a 2-week lockdown, nationwide lockdown. So we'll have to wait and see. It really just depends on when we hit the peak, the number of cases we see, the number of deaths. And I think that's up to our county leaders to determine if we're going to do that in the future.
Well, we have some other questions here coming in. On people's rent, will people get evicted? There is a temporary hold on evictions right now. Certainly, some people have a lot of concerns over that. I can tell you to consult, legal consultation if you have gotten an eviction notice. Even if you didn't pay your rent this month, even if you lost your job, you could receive a notice. Although I will tell you this: courts right now are not hearing eviction cases, so. You can't be kicked out of your house if the court is not hearing your case.
And I think a lot of people just echoing that it's important to be responsible, don't have family outings, protect yourself and your kids. stay safe, stay 6 feet apart. I think people understand what we need to be doing right now, but not enough people are doing it. But we do want to thank everyone who's tuned in this morning and joined the conversation, left us some good questions. Of course, Chris is still taking Verify questions as well, so if we didn't get to it this morning, you can email him, message him. There's all his contact information on your screen.
Yeah, thank you guys so much for joining us here on Still Up with 6. We are out of time this morning, but continue to send your questions in, and I will work around the clock to answer them. We will see you tomorrow morning, same time, same place, 4:30 to 7 a.m. and here right after the show.